So, hello everybody, welcome to pretty much the rest of the reviews for 2017 as we're getting close to the end of January, and obviously January is kind of like the Christmas cool down, you know, there's a lot of games people try and catch up on in the month of January, and that's where everybody sometimes does the top 5 and bottom 5, like Yahtzee only just released his last week as well, so I'm still on point. But February, you know, Nintendo's already shown off Faye, and that's looking bloody good. So, we only have till the end of January to finish off the reviews. So this is basically the rest of them, barring a few special ones, like 4 special ones that I've got left to do. So, there's not really going to be any visuals. It's just going to be like, this is the game. This was the reason why it was good or shit, and it's just kind of like not even hardly worth talking about. One, of course, being Lawbreakers for the example, and then a quick score, and then at the end I'll just tell you the other 4 which are getting their own reviews. So let's just dive right into each one of these games. So yes, from the example, Lawbreakers is the first one, another team-based hero shooter made by Cliff Bleszinski of Xbox, or former Xbox employee Cliff Bleszinski, who wanted this to be the hardcore hero team-based shooter, and all of the trailers are like, are you skilled as fuck? If you're not skilled as fuck, go home. This is a hardcore game for hardcore gamers. Hardcore Mountain Dew. Needless to say, the game was actually a load of shit. It was poorly optimized and was just kind of boring. Despite saying it's very hard to master and totally hardcore, it was actually really fucking easy to master, and it was so easy to master that it just got completely boring and everybody stopped playing, and that's why currently on Steam any playing time or any current active player base is within the teens. Like at one point it was as low as 10, but it's only ever been as high as 30. So good job, Cliff. So the final verdict for Lawbreakers, with Paladins, Overwatch and every other hero shooter gigantic completely dominating it, is a completely underwhelming 1 out of 5, because, you know, at least it sounded nice. The one that was going to get an entire review all to itself, the big second part of the trial, but as time went on, it just wasn't worth it. I am, of course, as you no doubt saw from the title, talking about Assassin's Creed Origins, a very interesting setting and a very interesting idea that got a lot of people excited to get back into the Assassin's Creed franchise after the absolute shit show that was Unity, then dropping down to Syndicate, and then, of course, dropping down into the pits of hell with the previous one. So, Origins, oh man, Egypt, Slife for the Sky Dragon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I love Egyptian stuff. Everybody loves Egyptian stuff. There's a Crash Bandicoot has an Egyptian level. Egyptian is always a good theme, always a good setting. Oh, we're gonna see the Egyptian gods, it's gonna be great. Well, I mean, we would see the Egyptian gods, of course, if the camel didn't rise up blocking the screen and tell us to pre-order the game or pre-order the DLC. So Ubisoft decided to just go completely full scum with Assassin's Creed Origins by making it a pre-order festival where you'd have to pre-order a game. There is also Uplay exclusive items like Stick of Truth and like Stick of Truth or Fractured Butthole. There is also Twitch Prime exclusive loot, a service which I now have tested out and can say I absolutely fucking hate Twitch Prime, and I think it is the worst service ever devised by man because it is so user unfriendly, but that's a story for another day. Regardless, after slicing off all of the content that was finished for pre-orders and Twitch Prime and Uplay, that already had a lot of people pissed and kind of underwhelmed. Then we found out that it was basically completely fucking shit, because it would absolutely, totally and inevitably destroy your computer by Ubisoft just having to have not only just one, oh no, not only just one anti-piracy program running, but 3. So we had Ubisoft's own Uplay running, then our beloved DRM Wolf herself, Denuvo, running, but on top of Uplay on Denuvo, we had Anti-Cheat, which is a third anti-piracy, anti-cheating software, and all 3 don't play together, so when you combine Denuvo with Uplay with Anti-Cheat, it sent the CPU skyrocketing, set your processor ablaze, and of course caused the infamous blue screen on your computer, because it completely fucking crashed it. And this issue was not fixed for so long that everybody just left, and Assassin's Creed Origins just fell by the wayside. Because let's face it, in all of the top 5 and bottom 5 that you've seen, you never saw Assassin's Creed in either section. It was like, hey, it sounded nice, hey, it looked really nice, it didn't play too bad. I mean, there was fucking loot boxes in it, which was just a nice thorn in everybody's side in the year of the loot box, but it looked nice, it sounded nice, it played nice, but the loot boxes, the pre-order bonuses, the fact that it blue screened your computer because of the 3 DRMs just kind of completely ruined it, and it was quickly forgotten about and brushed aside. So the final verdict for Assassin's Creed Origins is a okay 3 out of 5. You know, it might have been even worth playing if it didn't blue screen your computer, but as of right now, with the blue screens and the loot boxes, it ain't. The next one, well, come on, you knew it was coming. This one was originally going to have a huge review, like an hour long, here's all the ways they fucked up, but they just don't stop. They're doing it to the Ultimate Fighting Challenge UFC thing coming out next month in February, so we'll just cover that. And then they're turning Anthem into Activision's dream, because remember that pattern that Activision put up? Yeah, well, EA is actually going to use that in Anthem. Good fucking job, EA. So, obviously, one of the absolute biggest shit shows of 2017, we are talking about Star Wars Battlefront 2, a game that was poorly optimised, and this will get some visuals, a game that was poorly optimised to the point where everything just broke, like you got stuck in the wall on multiplayer.
Long time, here I am, jumping, crouching, sprints, trying to get through. This is where I just resigned myself to playing the rest of the game like this, waiting to see some enemies run past, and there we are. Eventually, it just sort of pop out. It wasn't the shield's fault. Believe in the shield. There we go. Pop!
You got flung into the ceiling in single player.
You always see insult and slap in the face. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who makes fun of that statement, or those statements, constantly, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is an insulting slap in the fucking face. And this is on top of that fucking AMA they did on Reddit. AMA normally stands for Ask Me Anything. For EA Dice, it stands for Ask Me Some Things and We'll Answer the Softballs. They didn't answer my one, by the way, which I thought was brilliant. But anyway, you've noticed by now, surely, that I'm flying in the air, like in that snowman Christmas animation, except not as endearing. But I am shooting the one rebel I can see. I restarted the game, bit annoyed with that. The tiebreaker is still going, and it sort of looks like I'm fucking it. It looks like I'm fucking the TIE Fighter in the arse.
And of course, if you were trying to get into a dogfight section, don't bother, because you had to endure the tiebreaker.
Is where Star Wars Battlefront 2 really stands out, though. Here we are with a vibrating TIE Fighter, or as I like to call it, a tiebreaker. Now, if you think this is bad to look at, imagine trying to play it. fuck this game, this broken-ass piece of shit game that sells at a shell price of $60. That's just the base price, not including season passes, which at this point have become obligatory, not including deluxe editions, not including the microtransactions, which we will of course get to later. For everything, for all of the money this fucking game wants, this is the result. And I'm not just like cherry picking here. My experience with the campaign, and to be fair, a decent amount of the multiplayer, has been bugs, lag, bullshit. Now, this is the Xbox One version, by the way. I sure as shit wasn't going to buy this fucking thing. Oh, by the way, if you have like eye problems, migraines, this gets worse, so much worse. Anyway, this came packed in with the Xbox One X that I got, thank God, because that was another dilemma I had. I was like, people are going to want me to cover this? I don't want to fucking give them money for this shit.
Man, wasn't that fun. Then they made the loot boxes pay to win, giving players distinct in-game advantages for the sake of loot boxes. They locked Darth Vader and all of the big heroes behind a 40-hour paywall or a big grind. What else did they do? They did a lot of scummy things to the point where actual gambling federations from around the world have now looked into the situation and are trying to regulate gambling boxes because they are gambling boxes, with the governor of Hawaii saying that EA has basically demonstrated horrible predatory behaviour towards children and that it is a online Star Wars casino, because it pretty much fucking is. So, good job EA for bringing all that down upon all of the rest of AAA's heads. I'm sure they're very pleased with you. And let's not forget, then you lost $4.1 billion worth of stock, and you had a phone call from Uncle Mickey himself because you fucked the Star Wars license. So overall, Star Wars Battlefront 2 gets a resounding 0 out of 5, a complete fucking shit show, and a complete fucking failure. So, good job EA. And next on the list, let me have a check here, because we've got a few more to go. But next on the list, the laptop is not responding. Isn't that great, ladies and gentlemen? Don't you just love when your laptop, the thing that you've got all of the reviews written down on, is not responding? So I will make a very nice cut if it doesn't respond within the next 2 seconds, so you don't have to hear me talk, although it is responding. So let's put in the password and load it up, and then we'll just press our sticky note. So we have done that one. Next up is For Honor. It is a game that myself, Midnight, and my friend Alexander Raven played the open beta of when it was first announced. A very interesting game, a game that looked quite stunning and looked like it was going to play very differently and had quite a lot of us excited. And of course the developer really wanted to put his heart and soul into it. However, much like EA's Battlefront 2, getting into the game and getting into the demo especially, it was found out that For Honor was A, completely fucking unstable when it came to the connection, so people were jittering around like they were in Battlefront 2, be it in or out of the tiebreaker. The connection constantly kept dropping, so everybody lost connection every so often. And of course it was a bit of a pay to win, where if you had 6,000 silver or iron or whatever the fucking currency was, you could buy exclusive execution moves, which would allow you to execute your opponent a lot easier. And from there it just devolved into a nonsensical mess of shit, with them wanting to have this big constant competitive online season thing, but failing to, again, fix the online, failing to understand that it was pay to win, so people were just not going to enjoy that competitive scene, and just overall not really flushing out your game or making it that engaging, because the story, like the opening story, was quite interesting, how there was some sort of goddess of war, voodoo witch lady, and she'd kept these 3 tribes fighting for centuries, yet we never get to play as her tribe, nor do we ever get to see her in the game, ever. Maybe in the story, but we played the online, and the online is between the 3 factions at war, and we never get to play as that 4th faction. So, interest in For Honor dropped very, very hard, and like Assassin's Creed Origins, nobody puts For Honor on their bottom 5 or their top 5 or even anywhere in the middle like their 5 most disappointing. It was just a game that fell by the wayside and faded into obscurity. I don't even know if the servers are still running. I should check that out. But at the time, you know, it looked very pretty and it had an interesting idea. Nice soundtrack. But the gameplay, again, the connection was so fucking unstable and everybody was jittering around and dropping in and out like flies that it was nearly unplayable. And then there was the pay-to-win element. So, again, with all of these bad games, it's just like, you made it look pretty, Ubisoft, and it sounds okay, but overall, it's just kinda shit, isn't it? So, final verdict for For Honor is again, underwhelming 2 out of 5. I would have really liked to seen that one go places, but 2 out of 5. And the next game on the rest of 2017 is Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Originally, there was going to be a crossover review with my friend Moon Knight. Unfortunately, we ran out of time, and I was hoping to have like some other assets made ready to do like a crossover because it would work better in his videos, and I am also currently in the process of commissioning a 3D source filmmaker model, so if he ever wants to come into my videos, I can animate the 3D model and he can animate the 2D. But I was going to go into his video for the 2D stuff. Unfortunately, the 2D assets were not ready in time, so we're just going to cover it right now. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is a good step up from Sun and Moon to the most part. I mean, there's no Jellyfish Mom, so 0 out of 5. Very disappointed. Fuck you. Why did you remove Jellyfish Mom? You're a dick, Nintendo. But everything else is a huge step up from Sun and Moon. The trials are a lot more engaging. The story, aside from Jellyfish Mom, is a lot more engaging with the Ultra Recon Squad and going to another dimension in order to seal away Necrozma, and the end game or post game content with Rainbow Rocket and the flying through Ultra Space to the different dimensions of Ultra Space on your legendary is a lot more engaging than the shit post game we got where we basically went to Doctor Who and it's like, where's the Ultra Beast? Oh, well, if you go to Route 2, you'll find Buzzlord, or if you go to, you'll find Buzzswole, and if you go to Route 7, you'll find Pheromosa, and then, if you caught all the Ultra Beasts and you go to where John and his Garfield are, then you'll find Guzzlord in some cave. That was boring. At least we actually get to fly through Ultra Space to find them now. So, Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, a very huge step up, and rather interestingly, the last Pokemon game to come to the 3DS. They are killing off Pokemon on the 3DS now. I think Crystal came out a couple of weeks ago, maybe even this week, as like a final extra, but the main series Pokemon games are now moving over to the Switch, with them saying that a lot of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was more tests, you know. It's not really shown off as a test. Like, if you look at other games like Xenoblade Chronicles X, where it's kind of shit, but they have this huge open world and it doesn't really need to load, even being on the Wii U, you can tell that a lot of that was a tech demo for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's like, we could make an open world with no loading screens on the Wii U, so the Switch is clearly going to be able to handle that, and we can make it a lot more focused. We tried out this on the Xenoblade Chronicles X, it kind of worked, we know what we're doing, add it to Xenoblade 2. And Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is going to be the same deal. It's like, let's have a look at flying through Ultra Space and going to different dimensions. Kind of works. Let's add that into Stars. I'm going to keep calling it Stars. I know it's not Stars. I'm going to keep calling it Stars though. Let's have a look at this. this works, add it to stars, this doesn't work, don't add it. And that's apparently what Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are. Rather than being this big grand third expansion like Crystal or Emerald or Diamond, or sorry, Platinum, where it is a distinct third one, it's more akin to Black and White 2, where it's only a side upgrade rather than a full upgrade, because a lot of it is just trying stuff out for the Switch game, which apparently is going to be like Skyrim. It's going to be a full 3D world that you can run around, and apparently it's even going to be shown off at E3, so I'll be looking forward to that. But going back to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I have had a good time with it. I did enjoy it. I'm still only on the 4th island, but I've seen the rest of it, and I've enjoyed it a lot more than the first one. And as always, it's got some really nice graphics, really nice music. The gameplay is a lot more fun than the first one in normal Moon. So I would give Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon a 4 out of 5. There are some problems, but I can see where you're going with it, and I'll be excited for E3. So 4 out of 5 on that. Right, next game on the list is, I think we are actually done. Let me just check the 4 that we've got left. That one, that one, that one, and that one. So yes, we are indeed now done with the side games of... Sorry, one more. Am I going to include this one? I am. Yooka-Laylee. So this is going to be a side one because I'm sure people want to know what I think about Yooka-Laylee. It could have been its own big review, but it doesn't really need to be. A kickstarted project from Playtough Games, who wanted to make a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. However, it is more of a spiritual successor to Donkey Kong 64, with the whole, there are 20 pages, like in Donkey Kong 64, where there is 20 golden bananas rather than 10, and there is 200 notes rather than the standard Banjo-Kazooie 100, so it is a lot more akin to Donkey Kong 64, which is a shit, in my opinion. It is a big downgrade from Banjo-Kazooie and even Banjo-Tooie. The worlds are way too fucking big. There is just kind of like these empty voids, especially in the swamp level. Looks great, looks fantastic. You captured the old 90s style, but everything captured the old 90s style, including the clunky controls, the wibbly wobbly camera, the absolutely fucking terrible shit mini games with Rextro, which are just a fucking Flappy Bird. Hey, look at it! Look at it! It's just fucking Flappy Bird! And that fucking minecart! It was shit. So while you did capture the spirit of the 90s, you captured way too much of the 90s by also bringing the 90s controls, the 90s shit mini games that no one likes. And in the end, all in all, it just completely and totally got dominated by a Hat in Time. Especially because they also caused the controversy with JonTron, where after an interview with Destiny, it was considered a little bit too racist. It wasn't. And rather than focusing on the game and being an entertaining product, which is what you should focus on in this medium, just being entertaining and not really bringing in anything from the outside world, you still did. So you removed JonTron from the game, that caused the backlash, and that added only to your problems, as well as, you know, hiring or... I know he donated, and he's welcome to donate, but you're telling me that you're going to remove JonTron for a one sentence that wasn't all that controversial, and was just like, you know, I'm not African, you know, JonTron's not full-blooded American, he's immigrant, and he's like, I'm an immigrant, and I think, you know, this would be a good idea. Oh, I'm going to have to stop you there and remove you from the game. You removed JonTron for that one tiny sentence that honestly isn't even all that controversial because he himself is an immigrant. Yet, the other one, you know the other one that has railed against Nintendo in the past, got a very toxic fan base and sends them to pretty much attack anybody that disagrees with him, and is basically a bit of a bastard now. He doesn't get removed? Yeah, that's not really looking that good for you, that you'll remove someone and you won't remove someone else, kind of playing favourites there. So all in all, it turned into a shit show, especially because Hat in Time, it's like, there's Jontron, he's in the game, it's a fun product, have fun, he said something controversial, whatever, see ya, that's not our problem, we made a fun game. So I'll give Yooka-Laylee a 3 out of 5. Looked fantastic. It looked like a Banjo-Kazooie game. Sounded like a Banjo-Kazooie game. Captured a lot of the Banjo-Kazooie feel, and it was getting up there. But then, like, they started to go downhill by saying, we want to capture all of it by also capturing the shit minigames nobody likes, the horrible controls and camera, and then being controversial. So it wasn't bad, a 3 out of 5. Just, you know, there's a lot of other people that have already said things about Yooka-Laylee and gone a lot more in depth, and people want to see you succeed, Playtonic, because you did okay, you did do some good decisions, and I think it's a pretty good game, but you didn't do enough good decisions, and we'd like to see you excel further in the future. So you're just getting an average score right now. I'm not going to go full on out like 1 out of 5, fucking letdown. It's not a letdown. It was alright. You know, when you compare it to things like Hat in Time, of course it was a letdown compared to Hat in Time, but on its own merits, it did enough right to try, and it nearly succeeded, but it just added a little bit too much of the 90s. So it's not a total failure like some people say, and it's not on the worst games list like some people say. It's just average. It's just okay at best. So that is it, and that is all of the other games. We have just got 4 other reviews that I'm going to get out across the coming days. We have got Doki Doki Literature Club, which is just going to be really easy. Again, there's not going to be many visuals. It's just more me talking about the main story beats and the way that they're integrated into the game, like Sasasisu hanging herself, and it is now a meme because, you know, you really ham-fisted that in, so that's a meme. So I had like a little bit more to say on that, but it's only about a 15-minute review. So that one's going to come out tomorrow really quickly. So we've got Doki Doki Literature Club. We have Sonic Forces, because I've got quite a lot to say about Sonic Forces, and I want that one to be its own separate thing. We have Knack 2, which is going to be its own separate thing, again, because I have a little bit more to say on that issue. And lastly, we have a mobile game that I won't spoil, and I have a lot to say about it. A mobile game, really? Yeah, fucking crazy, right? I know, so look forward to that. So I'm going to get these last 4 reviews up across this week. Doki Doki, this is going to be tonight. Doki Doki's going to be tomorrow. Then we've got like the whole week to get the 3 reviews out. Then we're going to do the top 5 and bottom 5. So that's been 30 minutes of recording. I need to take a drink because I haven't really stopped for a breather. So thank you all for watching this video. If you did indeed enjoy the video, do please feel free to leave a like. It does help out the channel. If you don't want to miss out on the future content, do feel free to subscribe. But I'm getting the hiccup. Subscribe. And of course, there are links down below to my Twitter if you want to see what I'm tweeting right now, my DeviantArt if you want to see what I'm drawing, my Patreon if you want to support me further, and the public Discord if you just want to come and chat in general. But for now, thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you tomorrow for the review of Doki Doki Literature Club.